Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going over how to make a really nice big pluck sound when you're sound designing, and this is going to be in FL Studio, but you can of course follow along in any DAW. Now, starting things off, before we do any tweaking to the sound design, this is the chord progression I've made. It won't sound great because this is going to be using init patch, but this is going to be what we transform into the sound we're going for, so here's what that sounds like now. So getting things started here, we're doing this in Serum. You could also follow along in Vital if you want to use it in a FreeSynth. But what I would do to begin here is lower the amount of decay and sustain. This is what will give us the plucky tone we're going for. Just mess with these values till you get something that fits in your track. Do this, and I'm also going to give it some voices of unison and lower the amount of detuning slightly to get it about here. From that, I'm going to open up a filter, and we are going to use LFO1 to adjust the cutoff of this. And again, there's no set value you'll want to follow along with here. Just kind of keep messing with this until you get something that fits in the track you're going for. I know specifically with this kind of song that I'm making here, you're going to want something that looks a little like this, at least I do, and it gives you a pluck like that. So this is a good basic sound design pluck, but this does not sound big yet, and that's what this tutorial's for. So let's get into how I'd go about doing that. Starting things off, I'd open up the Effects tab on Serum, go into Chorus, and we're just going to give it a little bit of stereo width by doing this. And we're also going to add some reverb to it. You could use the reverb in Serum or an external one, really doesn't matter, it depends on the tone you're going for, but this one will actually do just fine. The key important detail that you're going to take away from this, I hope anyway, is you actually want to do a reverb with a very short decay, and the strategy for this is we're going to follow that up with a huge compressor. So let me adjust the mix so you could hear it better. Probably even less than that. Change the size too. That just kind of puts it in a room. And this is actually the most important step to getting this to sound big, because the thing we do after this kind of brings that up in an order that isn't usually typical for this kind of thing. What you're going to do is throw on a big compressor. I have one called Gain Reduction. If you don't have that, you could use the stock FL one, or anything really, and I'll even show you what settings I'd go for. But you ease back on the compression a bit, and you're going to see, because you've put this after the reverb, it's going to bring up the tails when the sound isn't necessarily happening, and that's what gives it the big effect of sound like this. A little overcompressed right now, so we adjust a bit. But that is how you get it to sound big. So say you don't own gain reduction, what you do instead is open up Fruity Compressor, or any compressor that you're using depending on the DAW you have, and I'd just lower the threshold quite a bit, and up the ratio to taste, and then of course you're going to need to do makeup gain. But you see, that's pretty similar right there. That's a lot of compression, but that's kind of the sound we're going for here. Following that, I'd also recommend adding a delay, and you could just kind of mess with settings here. I'm going to turn on ping pong mode and make it really quick, and then lower the mix, that way it's not conflicting with anything. Just kind of gives it a little bit of bounce back in the sides, as you can hear, and that makes it sound nice and big. Following this, what you could do is make a second LFO, bring that over to your cutoff, and just have this be kind of like a riser shape as your progression continues. So this is a 4-bar loop. We're going to have it towards the end gain a lot of intensity because I'm automating this knob to open up, and that will sound like this. You see, because of the compressor that we have earlier, it kind of stays the same volume-wise, but it definitely gains intensity. Something else you could do as well if you want to make this a little bit bigger, enable oscillator B, make sure that's also going to your filter shape. Put it an octave up, and this will give you some extra highs. I like to also lower the fundamental a bit. And then reduce the volume so it's not too noticeable. And there we have a really big pluck sound. I also like doing this to a sine pluck to put over top that, which I'm going to demonstrate here. Same exact processing, just following a melody. I've just gone and added that here, and the only difference that I've done is that I have the reverb, rather than being a short one with a short decay, I've made it longer and then compressed that after. And I've also added disperser to make the transients a little more interesting, which actually reminds me that's something else you could throw. I like doing it before the compressor. We're going to add that to our original sound. If you don't have disperser, it's not completely necessary for this, but it's a paid plugin I do own that I think does make the difference. It's usually pretty cheap if you want to pick it up, and there are free alternatives as well. But that makes it sound a little bit better, and putting those two elements together, you get this. I think that sounds really good. Very nice big plucks. I hope this has helped you out. Be sure to like and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next tutorial.